Welcome back to Rubbin Minds, and going straight into the segment, Ahmed Agbabiaka, great to have you on the show.
Thank you so
and
much
we're talking about young people stand a chance in 2019. The best news, I think, so far in terms of the election is the fact that the Not Too Young to Run bill was passed, and a lot of people celebrated, a lot of young Nigerians celebrated. But when we look at what's happening now, if morning shows the day, we're not really seeing that many young Nigerians showing interest in public office. Some, but not too many. Not as many as we thought we would. Why is that?
Well, thank you so much for having me, first of all. I think it's very important that we start adhering to the narratives, to the narrative of the recent development worldwide. Young people are taking up position of leadership. See, the democracies we are trying to copy, we're trying to, take after, are doing a lot. We hear a lot of young people in their 30s taking over offices in the highest places in Europe and elsewhere. So I think it's a wake-up call for everyone, both the old and young in Nigeria. But it's not easy to let go. The old ones will still want to reinvent themselves and want to be part of this generation and run this generation.
Some of the opinion that it won't necessarily be given to the youth. The youth need to either fight for it or take it by force.
Yes.
What's your attitude on the fact that, or your take on the fact that because I'm young doesn't necessarily mean I'm experienced enough?
Well, no one, like a leader of mine used to say power is not served a la carte. You can't have it. You can't have it free. You have to fight for it, and that's where you're going to cherish it. That's when you cherish it. That's when you appreciate what you have. A whole lot of young people are here presently in Nigeria. All are just on the surface in fighting or asking for what is right for them. In terms of leadership, we seldom find them here and there, saying the theory, participating in the theory part of it. But let's come into the mainstream politics.
Yeah.
You hardly find them. At best, you have them on social media, having the best of articles, the best of narratives, and here and there. But you see, what are those things that those in Europe are doing, and that is making world leaders respect them, and even getting international support to lead their countries? Such things are missing here. So at best, you can have them as special assistant advisors or something to these big men, calling their praises here and there. But how prepared are we? We've seen examples of young people, governors, House of Representatives, even senators, holding positions of power in the recent past and even presently. And we can see what they are doing. It's nothing different from what these old people are doing. So what do we think is going to make the old people want to, let's give power to them? At best, they will bring in their children that are just finished from Harvard, who they sponsor with our money, to come and take over. So I think we need to prepare more. The youth should not just rush into this. It's not experiment. It's not something to just experiment. Because if you fail it once, if the youth fail it once, then it's going to be assumed by the greedy old generation that, well, you can see, they are not different from us. So I think it's very, very important that we get the Constitution amended to, first of all, acknowledge the fact that if you can vote at the age of 18, then why can't you be voted for? If a young person, if a 21-year-old person finishes university as a medical doctor, graduated and qualified as a medical doctor as young as 21, 22, it means that person has everything that it takes to save a human life, everything that it takes to appreciate whatever he's doing to save a life, which is about the greatest of any activity anyone can engage in. So if anyone can graduate, a student can graduate in law school at the age of 21, 22, 23, and can defend a client, can present writ of papers or whatever in court, that person should be able to stand for office. So we should not limit age limit for even those that are not even qualified. We should not appreciate age over qualification, over experience.
Some will argue that in 2019, a lot of the people and a lot of the votes come from the grassroots. They come from the people who are not necessarily well-to-do or educated. Our current president, for example, got a number of youthful votes.
Yes.
The question now is, are the people ready for that kind of change from the old system, or a system that they're used to, even though they are suffering and smiling, to an unknown system with the promise of a better tomorrow? that they cannot really guarantee. Do you think people are ready for that?
You see, even the changes that are so obvious, where we know what the results are going to be, people are scared of them. People are scared of those changes, let alone changes where you are not even sure of what is going to come up, especially with the crop of young people that are holding offices presently in Nigeria, and the fact that what they are doing is not even different from what the old ones are doing. So I think it's very, very important that, first of all, the youth needs to convince themselves. The current president became president with a huge percentage of young people voting for him, or appreciating him, because other young people that are thinking out of the box campaign for him. They campaign for him to convince some of their colleagues or their friends, their generation, to vote and support the government. In all fairness, comparatively, from the inception of this democracy since 1999, I think a lot has been achieved by this government. We might not need to go deep into that, but looking at where we are coming from, the destabilized and displaced structure, framework of the entire economy and leadership, the governance of this country, I think a lot has been achieved so far comparatively. But it's very important that this government, the present government as we have it, because there's no one can exist in a vacuum. If the youth are saying they are coming over, it's not like they are coming to come and fight a coup, or they are carrying weapons, arm and ammunition to come and chase this government out. Then any government that is so serious, if the government is going to go in 2019, or they are going to have the grace to still continue till 2023, I think they should start preparing as a legacy that those that are going to take over should be the younger generation. 5 years, 4 years, 6 years is enough to groom young people. We should shift from the paradigm that we have very old people as appointees in the present government to have young people. Let's prepare them for the position of leadership in the highest level. So I think it's very important that this government leaves a legacy like that.